you don't have that much things served. Like as a child, you don't have like thousands of playgrounds to go to, or like the cinema or anything. So you had to use your imagination to not be bored. And I think it's a really good trigger for imagination to be bored. And sometimes I wish that the kids would feel that more these days, because now they are always like having the phone or like a computer to watch. But I was not bored that much, because I always found something to do, and it was a lot about the nature we lived. It was so beautiful just by the river. So I went out to the woods. I was fishing. I was picking mushrooms and berries, and I was out with my dog and watching birds and all. So that was part of it. And then when we took long trips, since my father was a geologist, we always took our caravan, and we didn't end up in like nice camping sites or anything. We were standing in quarries all the time, like looking at a wall of rocks, because he had some work to do. So it was like combined vacation, but it was also a lot of fun, because we were like got to look for like quartz crystals, and it was amazing. It was like a treasure hunt in some ways, but it was long travel. So in the car you got to like read a book, listen to music, or sing, and we were singing a lot. So I can't remember even not singing in my life ever. And when I went to school, I started in the 4th grade. I started my first band. We were called Explain, a really cool band. I was playing the electric guitar, and we had a bass player, we had a drummer, and we had a keyboard player, all girls. And we played together for at least 10 years. And when you play together with somebody during a long period of time, you get to know each other so well, because we were all also growing up together. Meeting like puberty and boys and all that stuff together. So they're sort of my siblings. We were actually meeting last week. So it's the best gift I ever got from music, I think. My best friends. So I started my first band, and 2 years later I started touring with my sister. We formed a duo called Honung Konung. And we were really popular because we were young and we were girls, and we were playing quite well to be like, I was 12. We actually got my first like summer job was to play in one of the worst like places. It was what is it called, Raggarhak in Swedish, where all the like with the American cars,
Raggare, yeah.
there, and they were screaming things, and they were so drunk. And I can't believe that mom and dad like let us be there during the night. But it was a tough school, but I learned a lot, and I learned how to be a good like live artist, I think. So it was a good school. And then I went to music school, like in the gymnasium. When I went to like high school, we had amazing like music teachers that taught us about like theory, and we got to do like a musical and a review, and it was like, it was so amazing to be able to get that support from our teachers back then. It really reminds me of how important a good teacher is for inspiration forwards.
And that was all in Umeå, right?
It was all in Umeå. And I didn't want to move into the town because I was afraid that my lungs were going to turn black from all the, the cars and smoke. And
Oh, right.
but it was so nice.
Is there any big industry in Umeå?
No.
No, it's not really, right? But it's
No,
quite cultural town. We've been there a couple of weeks ago, and you have opera there, and symphony orchestra, and university, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a perfect city to grow up in.
Very pretty. How big is it? How many people live there?
I think we're like around 130, but I'm not sure. Because now I live outside. I live on the countryside by the sea.
And also for our audiences who are outside in Norden, Umeå is quite up north, right? It's above the North Circle, the Arctic Circle.
No, not really.
Not
it's
really?
a little bit.
It's a little bit below. Yeah, Evgeny, we'll talk about the Arctic Circle when it comes to you. You guys are even further up. Yes.
But
Yeah.
I live here, and then I also live part-time, sort of in near Mo i Rana, towards but on the Swedish side, up in the mountains. Because I mean, for me, nature has always been like the place where I can be creative, and it's the right pace for me, and I see what I need to see to be like in connection with all these things that you need to be connected with when you write music, at least for me. So it's always when I drive the car and I pass Storum, and then I've been driving like for 230 kilometers. And then I'm sort of done thinking about the things at home. And then I start seeing the mountains, and then I get like all these ideas and inspiration. So when I come up to our little chalet in the mountains, then I'm like full of music. So I'm just writing. It's amazing. I grew up so we had really lovely schools, but then I moved to Skellefteå to go to music school there, and that's actually where I met the guy that I play with now, Daniel Pettersson. But it took us we're really fast movers, so it took us like 20 years to find to actually play together. And he plays the nyckelharpa, and he's amazing, and I'm going to tell you a little bit more about him in a bit. And then I moved back to Umeå because it's my home, and I really love that city. So I finished the gymnasium here in Umeå, and then I didn't go to any more music schools. I thought it was a little bit too much like theoretical, and too much classical singing and musical, and I wasn't that sort of singer. And so I didn't think that I fitted in that much in the school system and how you're supposed to make music. I wanted to do other things. But I got signed up as a songwriter for Warner Chapel Music in Stockholm. So I moved there to sort of develop my skills in songwriting, and I actually got a record deal. But I tried to live in Stockholm, and I couldn't. All my inspiration was gone, and I didn't like the pace of it. I mean, when you go down to the subway and somebody missed like a subway train, they're like, "Oh my God, this is so bad," and the next one comes in 2 minutes.
You mean the
why
crowds?
stress about it?
So much people. It can be packed. Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. And they're like so upset if they miss 2 minutes. I mean, for me, it's like, yeah. And I miss the nature, and that's how I get my inspiration. So I really realized that I need to move back home, but I still wanted to do my album and do that. But so I started my own record company here in Umeå. Yeah, that's a solution.
Yes.
And since you need finances to do that, it's a custom thing to release an album. So I got a real estate company here in Umeå to finance it. And it went so well, and I got to hire the people that I needed for get the exposure of the music and album as I needed. So it went really well.
So you mean you started your own company? Real estate company.
Baltic Records.
To finance your No, but the real estate company, you said. You got a real estate company to finance it. So you started kind of a business, a real estate business.
Yeah. Or through their money, I started the company. But it was like, but I still I'm fascinated that they wanted to join the project. Because
so it's okay. Yeah, it's a company on the side which kind of financed your record label.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly, because their philosophy in the city was that if they own a lot of estate, if they're gonna have a healthy city, they need culture. So they're all have always been financing like the opera and the university, all the things that makes the city great.
Fantastic.
And I think that is actually heartwarming. That they realize that if people are going to want to stay here, you need all that nice restaurants, culture, education, all that makes the city great. So I'm really grateful for that still. But when you do everything yourself, and you're the artist, you're the record company, like the doer of everything, it took its toll. So I actually crashed a little bit and stopped writing music again after that. So I worked at the local radio station with demo shows, lots of music, and I still played live music, but I didn't like the business part of the music that much. It's not really me. And when you're in Stockholm, you're supposed to mingle and meet that person, and talk to that person because it's good for your business. And for me, it's like, I want to talk to that person if it's a nice person. I have a hard time faking it, so I'm not really made for that kind of thing.
It's a tough work in itself.
Yeah. And I'm always talking about core things. I don't talk about the weather and then like things like that. I just like, I want to focus on what's important for me, at least. So I finished working with my record company, and it took a lot of years. I made some music for a children's show on TV. It was so much fun. So it's actually my greatest hit.
Wow.
Pysselskogen, it's called.
Wow.
It's an amazing song.
I'm gonna check it. How again? I love.
You have to check
I love music.
And it's such an amazing show. The children are like making toys and figures from pine. What is it called? Kottar.
Kottar. Yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
What it is, but we get it.
It's so charming, and actually the show host there is one of my best friends now, so everything comes together.
You know this Swedish band Electric Banana or something like that was one of my greatest discoveries of the past couple of months. Maja Min Maja is still playing somewhere on the back of my skull, even now when we're talking. It's crazy stuff. So yeah.
And if you listen to Swedish children's music, the best for me at least, it's like Electric Banana Band, of course, but James and Karin, and they were really like famous in the 70s and made such good music. It's like a 70s sound of the children. I know all of the songs, and it's about animals and stuff. So it's perfect.
Yeah, fantastic.
That's my dream, to do that in the future.
I'll share that under the stream so people can.
Yeah, good.
But it kind of requires subtitles in English, I guess. It's a whole new level there when you get the lyrics. Yes.
Yeah, but it's about the views from the mooses. Like the mankind has like built all the roads in their countries, so they like forming a group and they're gonna demonstrate against it, and it's so much fun. It's so great.
Yeah.
So it took a lot of time for me to start writing again, but that was when I met Daniel Pettersson, my working husband, that I actually met in the gymnasium in Skellefteå, and he plays the nyckelharpa, and he's an amazing musician. So we started making music together, and he comes from the folk music group, like a community, and I come from the pop music singer-songwriter. So when we combined it together, I think we created something that was more than just the two of us. It's like a really nice room, an atmosphere that I really enjoy being in. So when you get older, it's not that much about like making other people like what you do, but it has to be like filled with joy and lust for yourself. Otherwise, I don't find the energy to do it. And that's sort of the things that guides me today. I had to get energy from it. I had to feel joy and like the thing that I want to do it again and again. And that's the way it is with me and Daniel when we play together. And so we actually made an EP. He started writing pop songs or like Visa songs, and from only making folk music before, and I started writing again. So combine that. So we made an EP, and also we released a single. We made music to a famous poem about the midsummer, like the June night, from Harry Martinson. And it's such a lovely poem. It describes the light here in the north in such a nice way, and so I think it turned out really beautifully. So that's what I did the last time, but we also released that one ourselves, and I realized that it had become like a big difference from doing it 20 years ago and this time, because the press didn't write about it, like the local press. They didn't find it interesting enough. They write about like Beyoncé and Sara Larsson, but I thought that was strange.
Frustrating.
And yeah, and if at first it was like a little bit, I found it a little bit, I took it personally. But then I heard that in Luleå, for example, they had, or in Piteå, they have started this new initiative for people to like a magazine online where they're writing about local events, local artists that releasing music, and anyone can review a concert and put it up there. And it's because it was the same thing up there. They don't write about local music that much anymore. And it's harder to get your music played on the radio station also. So my mind started working like, what can we do to like fix this problem? What would we need so we can, because it costed me all my savings to do that recording. And then it's not even played on like the national radio station. And I was like, how can I compete with the people that knows everyone in the business? And then you need a nice PR agent that can do that for you and has all the contacts. So if you're going to compete on the same like playing field as the others, like down in Stockholm and still live here, you need money to hire probably the best PR agent because they have to present you much more because nobody heard about you down there. And the people that decides what to play on the radio, everybody's in Stockholm these days. Before it was like some people that up in the north and some people down in the south, so it was easier to get your music out there and to actually speak to somebody who does this. And it's also the playlists on the streaming sites. You have to have connections to end up in those lists also. So you need money for a PR agent, and you need money for recordings, and probably you need money for touring support because the distances up here are so much greater than. So my mind started working, but I didn't have the time to like solve the problem because I had to earn money and do other things, and so I worked as a journalist also during this time. But now this opportunity presented itself to work with a cultural project. It's a Aurora Interreg project called ICH Edu North. And it was because I started working as a mentor for Kulturakademin in Storuman, which is inland of Sweden. And the Kulturakademin is providing like young kids for young kids to be able to play music and play in groups, play instruments, have a proper music education, because they actually shut down the music schools there to save money. And I think everybody has the right to have to know how to do culture. I mean,
it's actually a very interesting example, and maybe because I have familiar a little bit with the Storuman Academy and the director Duncan. We met together a couple of weeks ago. I think it's a very fascinating experience, especially for us, Evgeny, in Norway. I think it's soon to be a new reality with all the cuts in the culture. I don't know how things are in Troms and Finnmark, but like in Nordland, we have had so many cuts, and Mo i Rana, for example, has just lost Stilling at Kulturskola, at a culture school. And it apparently something similar that happened in Storuman, which is like a small commune on the Swedish side of the border, and they got similar problems, but like 20 years ago, right? It was like in 90s, was it? When Kommuna suddenly said that they don't want to pay for school anymore. And the solution they found was that they kind of started, as it says, I think in the description, a local community business, it's called. So it's like a business model, but like it's owned by the Kommuna, by the community. So basically it's a private Kulturskola, but it's not really privately owned. It's owned by the commune, right? It's people who are owning it. And this model seems to be working perfectly fine. They are having, right? It's quite many students and quite many Stillinger, So they've managed to find the vital sources to do that, and that's a fantastic solution. I mean, it's not optimal, obviously.
No.
But
And it sort of requires the people that really has the fire in them to give that, because I mean they work more than they get paid, of course.
Exactly.
So what we called eldsjälar in Sweden, and I think Duncan is definitely one of them. I started working. They have different projects also, so they actually educate young singers and musicians to become professional. And so they teach them how to perform it on stage, and that was sort of my part, the live performance, and they give them singing lessons, and they also we're going to talk about the business, how to book gigs, and the technique around it, because since we're up here in the north, we're going to have to do most of it ourselves. So you have to be given the tools for doing that, and I have been teaching myself through mistakes. So we don't want to serve these kids everything on a plate, because then they're not going to learn anything. But talk about it. This is how it works. This is what you should do, and then they get to try. And I actually wanted to start involving the business part of this region. So people with restaurants that are used to have having music in their restaurants, and they're kind people, so they can say that we want to be a part of this, and then it's sort of program, so they can try with these people that we know are safe and good people to work with. So I started with that, and then I got into this project. So now I'm working there half time. So I actually have time to develop all these things that I've been thinking about, the things that we need as musicians who wants to take our music to the next level. And we do that through a different project. It's a huge project. It has 5 work packages. Some work packages work more towards the minority groups.
Maybe we start with interpreting those many letters in the name of that project.
ICH. What is it?
Interreg. I mean, it's very many letters, which I didn't take the freedom to interpret in the description to that video, but maybe you can say a little bit so that our audiences understand what we're talking about.
Yeah, sure. It's ICH stands for Intangible Cultural Heritage. And I didn't know what intangible was when I started this 4 months ago. But it's about living cultural heritage. And then you have to interpret what is living cultural heritage. In Finland, most of the people that works in this project are from the folk music, traditional music. But I think coming from pop music, I think, in the future, that's going to be our cultural heritage also. Everything that is created and written and sort of has the roots in this area. So that's what we're working with. And the edu part is education, of course, in ICH Edu North. Some work packages is about taking if you want to play the flute, there's not different flutes. There's not material for the teachers to use as teaching material. So some people are working with that and make tutorial videos and how to build instruments and things like that. And the part I'm working with is the business part then, because if you're going to be, especially up here in the north, if you're going to be a musician or an artist and still want to live here, you have to be some sort of entrepreneur, because it's for me, and everybody in culture hates that word. It's it's sort of it's so businessy, but it is like that. It is what it is. You have to find solutions to problems, or the lack of things served here. For me, there wasn't a record company that I could work with here in Umeå, so I started my own, and that's how you find solutions to different things that you need. So I thought it was quite suitable for me to work with it, because I've already thought about these things. So one of the things that we do is like educating like young people to become like ambassadors for the ICH thought. And so we're actually starting this course in Visa, like folk songs.
Folk songs, yeah.
Because it's a way to find the link between like folk music and the pop music, because Visa is sort of it has adapted through time, and I mean Visa today is Lars Winnerbäck and maybe where the lyrics are as important as the music. That's how some people define it as Visa these days. It can be hip hop if the lyrics are about like the way you live, and it's like a story about that tells you about these days, or not only about love all the time.
Is this an international project, or it's only Sweden who's involved?
No, it is international. It's with Norway, and it's like and it is with Sweden, and it is in Finland. And the Norway part we have to develop more, but we have 3 years. It's a 3-year project. But we're cooperating a lot with like in work package 3, at least with Finland, with Österbotten. So it's the Aurora region, and it's the northern parts of
what does it mean, the working package? Is it like in parts of the project, or is it
it is sections? Parts of the project.
And it's time separated, or what defines the package? Is it the load of the work, or it's periods of time?
No. What the work packages is defined by what area they're going to focus on. It's about focus area. Okay. So the part 2 is more about like education part. The 5th is about the minority part of culture.
And you do them all simultaneously at the same time, or yeah. So you work on all 5 different aspects of it at a time.
Yeah. So it's a huge project.
Yeah, it's really huge. Are you alone on that, or you probably need a lot of people?
No. We're in the work package 3, which I work with. Then I work with Duncan from Kulturakademin, and 2 guys from Finland. Excellent people. So we're a few people that can actually like have ideas, and we talk about them, and we see how if it's doable, if it's like, because in the beginning it's a lot of Minecraft put into it, and then you have to sort of think about it all the time. Can we do this? How can we do that? If we want to do this, how should we do it? So these 4 past months has been a lot about thinking and finding ways to actually start doing. But now we're coming to the doing part. So it's
how long is the project? How much time?
3 years.
3 years. Okay, you have time.
Yeah.
Yeah, fantastic, fascinating. Yeah, that's very interesting. So ICH stands for Intangible Cultural Heritage, and Interreg, that's the program which finances this work you have.
Yeah, exactly. It's a EU project.
Yeah.
So. Very good. And one of the parts that we work with also is to lift local music, local made music. And I get so excited about this because we decided to make like playlists. And it's a quite simple thing to do, but it takes a lot of time if you have to, because even though I'm a musician, I don't meet other musicians that often, because when I'm playing somewhere, if it's not a festival, I don't meet the other ones because they're playing somewhere else.
Yeah.
So I put out on social media that I wanted to, the first list was Joik, folk songs and folk music. So I got so many suggestions, like 100 comments like on that thing. And now I wanted to make a list more like more of a mood list, not a genre list. And to be able to put a list together where you can actually play it on restaurants, or you can play it on like a shopping mall, because a list in that is played a lot in those like public venues, it's going to be paid a lot, so the streams are going to go up for the musicians or the artists on the list, because it's so silly, but the numbers matters. when I work at Swedish television, and we had this international, the national show Go Kväll, they were always talking about, you have 1 million streams on this one, and you have like, and as a musician, I know that you can actually buy streams, and things like that. And for us who doesn't like had that big an audience, up here it's fewer people, so it's going to be harder to get through that. So maybe we can help those numbers up. And also, I want the people to actually talk about that. If you're in a restaurant, if you have local food and you have local stuff that you eat, and then you listen to music that comes from AI, it's so silly. It's like, you're almost there, but not really, because now you can, if you sit in a restaurant, the food comes from here, we pick the mushrooms here and the berries from outside. And the music is actually local. It's yoik from the area. I mean, that's going to...
Makes perfect sense, of course,
Yeah, the experience, it's going to be so much better. So it's also like a promoting thing, and it can actually generate money for that business if you want to talk about numbers and money. And we call those, it's going to be many lists in the future. So we label them Love Local, like with a heart and local. So it's going to be so amazing to release them. And you can have QR codes to, if you sit on the restaurant and you're like, I want this list to my playlist, add it to my playlist, then you can do that. And so that's one of the projects, and I'm really excited about that. So it's an easy way to actually enhance music. And when I got so much suggestions, and I learned there was so much music and such quality made in the area, it was amazing. So I called up the local radio station and made a suggestion to one of my friends who works there. But this is not like a done deal. But I suggested that we have at least 1 hour a week where we talk about local music, and we present all these young artists or old artists and whomever who's making music in the district.
Now it's on the air, so they better agree.
Yeah. And they were excited about the idea, but we're going to see how it goes. So and it's also a power tool to use when you're talking with the decision makers. This is what we have. I mean, if you're having an event, don't take anything from Stockholm. You have all this to choose from. And this is why we need to put more effort and make a sustainability for artists to live here in the area, and safeguard what we have and use that instead of picking something and think that it's more exclusive if you take it from somewhere else. So I think that's a really interesting thing. And then I want to start a platform, for musicians to be able to get finances from
local
for recording and PR and those things. And when I start talking about it, I heard that in Luleå they already work with that, and I have been doing that for 20 years. So I'm going for a meeting with them and see how they work. And so it's a lot of things. And we also talked about the opportunities to play, because we always think about it like from the north to the south, that you want to go like maybe to Stockholm, or to Oslo or to Helsinki to make it there, but maybe if you don't have to make it to the top and be the hottest thing on the list, it might be okay to just be able to play a lot, so you can actually get finances to pay your mortgage or something through that. And if we think about it, instead of from north to south, you can think about from west to the east. And then you also have 3 countries to work with.
Exactly.
From in the west, from Norway through Sweden, we can find venues in that stretch to sort of widen the play field for musicians and live gigs. And I think that would be amazing. But it requires that we all work together and actually do it.
I have to say that's one of the philosophies why NordSync started, that this need for more horizontal connections across the borders, which you're talking about. That's exactly, and I think I can maybe say for North Norway, and it's, I believe, similar for you, Evgeny, up there, that there is a political will to have more collaboration across the border horizontally in the north.
Yeah.
Because this problem of centralized culture life, centralized economy, everything goes to Oslo or to Stockholm and backwards, and nothing really, because we live so
it
close.
Becomes a cultural desert up here.
Yeah, it's really weirdest feeling. When we were organizing that last forum we had in Umeå, and we wanted to have some of Norwegian musicians from Helgeland to come and join there, and the shortest way for them is to take flight with the stop in Trondheim, then Oslo, then Stockholm, and only then Umeå, which sounds quite insane. It's easier and shorter to just drive 6 hours.
Yeah.
That sounds not sustainable. That doesn't sound sane at all. So I think we as cultural workers, cultural enthusiasts, we can definitely do something to make that better in future, for politicians to make decisions necessary to make our regions closer.
And also to get like funds for like tour money, because for travels, because if and also if we work together, we can find like places to stay in, like on that stretch you can have like 2 gigs instead of going like 6 hours this way and going 6 hours that way. We can actually make stops, and then it's more sustainable.
There is a big potential for improvement there.
Yeah.
I 100% agree. Lovely. It's lovely to hear very much similar way of thinking from the other side of the border as we have here. We are also thinking a lot about, getting more blood floating on that formerly very active cultural path called the Blue Road, Blue
Yeah.
which was once quite active cultural communicator through our 3 countries in the north, which now I believe is quite passive. And
but it's starting to bubble, under the surface, because I mean, we were talking with the what is it called, the AC Live.
AC Live, yes, they are
Yeah.
working in the same direction, exactly.
Yeah, for people who wants to make events and open up stages for live music, and they also talk about that stretch.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe if we can combine our energy and then our vision, it can actually happen, because nobody can do it alone. We have to be more.
That's why we are there. NordSync stands for Nordic synchronization, and that's the kind of core goal of ours, is to synchronize the Nordics.
Yeah.
And we are much more interested in rural areas than Oslo and Stockholm, because these guys have enough. We don't need to work there. We need to work here.
And maybe if we do this, people are going to move to our places to be a part of what we create.
Exactly. Yes, that's there is so much to suggest, and you just mentioned this fantastic instrument, nyckelharpa, on the way of your fascinating story, and nobody, I believe, from outside our regions actually know much about it, and it's so much worth spending another hour talking just about that, because it's such an amazing plast of actually intangible cultural heritage.
Yeah, it is.
Because it's living, yet it's a historical instrument, fantastic instrument. It looks like it's out of a space to me.
And when you bring it to pop music, it makes a sound picture that is that you can't create with AI.
No.
I mean, it's a unique sound. So
yes.
More of that, more like strange instruments in the music that cannot be.
And we are very much into that. And one of our coming projects in the autumn, you probably heard about it. It's actually a kind of a mixture of classical music and folk. What you're doing is kind of a mixture of pop and folk, right?
Yeah,
as
exactly.
Far as we are also very excited about interdisciplinary productions. That's our kind of main creative tool, I can say, in NordSync. And the coming project called Nordisk Suite, and that's a modern composed piece by a very famous composer in Norway, Bodvar Drottninghamn, and he wrote a piece for a string ensemble, string orchestra, and nyckelharpa and hardenfele. And the nyckelharpa will represent the Swedish folk tradition and culture, and hardenfele obviously will represent Norwegian. and we meet across the border in Mo i Rana, and this piece is all based on like intangible cultural heritage from both Norway and Sweden mixed in one modern kind of site, which we're very excited about. It's taking a lot of effort from us to perform, because we're also very engaged in getting as many people to participate. So we engage all the cultural schools, all the amateur orchestras in the area. It will be above 120 people on stage when we do that in autumn. And we really are very excited if hopefully people from Storuman are joining us, and we talked about it with Duncan, and we also talking with Lycksele, and hopefully maybe you guys from Umeå also could be a part of that. I think there's a lot we can do together, and also.
And then I would bring my fishing rod also. So
that would be fantastic. Yes, you know we have the best fishing on the coast, I believe. Yes, I think we let Evgeny tell a little bit about what he does and Pikene på broen, and I think we'll have a lot to kind of mingle about after that, because I think there is a lot. I have a feeling that we might have a lot in common with what to do. So here you are.
Yeah. So first of all, thank you, Stepan, for inviting, and Carolina, thank you for the amazing talk. I've been writing a lot here, some really good ideas I want to get into a little later. And also maybe can see each other soon in Umeå. We are traveling with our organization, and also a little theater piece to Umeå, to the Arctic Art Summits that will be happening in the middle of June. So it would be nice if you're there. It would be nice to meet you personally.
If I can, I will come.
The organization I'm working with. Is the connection okay? No?
You got stuck a little bit, but maybe I need to press something. Wait, are you sharing a screen now, or?
No, not yet. Not yet. Sorry.
Just you got a little bit frozen, I think, but it's fine now.
Yeah. Okay, it may be my connection. So I'll try to look at the screen just to make sure that you see me. Okay, so a couple of words about myself first. I'm a theater director from Murmansk, which is a big city above the Polar Circle, the biggest in the world, which was, I think, a very strange experiment by the Soviet Union. And a lot of people in the north who live in Murmansk don't believe that we need such a big city. It's strange to have such a great community in apartment blocks in the north. It's not natural. But anyway, it is quite big, and I'm originally from there, and I had my own theater there, and I also do music and compose songs. But in 2022, I moved to Hirkenes, to Pikene på broen, and now I live and work here as a producer and curator, and do my artistic work on the side whenever I have the opportunity to do that. As an immigrant, that's even harder than a local one. So very little connections in that sphere. So I will share the screen and tell you a little about the organization I work in. Let's see.
Do I need to press anything? No?
Yes. Not yet. I'm sending you a request.
Yes. Should be working. I allowed at least.
Okay, yes, and now I will do this and that. Do you see it now?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah, so Pikene på broen, translated to the English speakers as Girls on the Bridge. This is our team. We're quite a large collective for the north, for the small town of Hirkenes. It's only 3.5 thousand people living in Hirkenes, 10,000 in the region. But we are 8.5 people working in the organization. It's a cultural collective, we're trying to be horizontal. Of course, it doesn't work always, as those who work in horizontal organizations know. And we do several things. But before I go into what we do, I can tell you, for those of you who don't know, this is Hirkenes here. It is located close to the border with Russia and very close to Finland as well. So, and this is a part of its identity for many years. So, this is one of the shortest trips to Russia you can take. You can't take. You're not allowed to cross the river. Yeah, of course. But
you can fish there.
Yeah, if you're local, you can. Yeah, absolutely.
Well, according to that sign, you can't pee there. Also.
Exactly. Yeah. So, only for a short time. Fish for a short time. And then another part of identity is the iron mine that was the main factory for many, many years, and then it was closed in 1996. And before that, also before 1991, it was an Iron Curtain, right, that divided Russia and Norway, and the Kirkenes was considered this dead end of Norway in many ways. And then when the factory closed, there was no reason to live here anymore. There was, everything is falling down. A very depressing mode turned in. But then the Iron Curtain opened at the same time. So people started to reconsider the identity of the whole town. And then there was an agreement signed in 1993 called the Barents Agreement. And it was an attempt to create the Barents region, the northern parts of Finland, Sweden, Norway, and Russia. Were included into that, which is now considered a naive experiment, which I don't agree with, but many say that it's over now. So the Barents region doesn't exist anymore, but this is a separate discussion. So 5 girls, 5 young women, different spheres, they decided to organize an organization called Pikene på Broen because they wanted to create bridges between the countries, Finland, Norway, Russia, and Sweden, of course, because the new Barents region was established, but also between genres, the multidisciplinary part that you were talking about. And they started to work in 1996 and slowly developed into what I show you now. So here you see that we have 4 pillars that we work with. I will tell more about them separately. This is a Kunsthal that I'm here right now, and actually, if you hear some sounds, we have a dance collective rehearsing these weeks, so it may be quite loud soon. Then there's a Barn Spectacle annual art festival that celebrated its 22nd year this year. There's an artist residency program and expert program. So to be tell you more about them. So the residency program hosts about 60 to 70 artists a year. A lot of them come for introductory period for a week or so, but also quite a few come for production periods. So right now we have a dance collective for almost a month creating their new piece, or we had an artist from UK, for example, coming, and he's now making his walking tour. He walks from Kirkenes to Finland and then to Lofoten Islands. It's a very long 2-month walking tour while creating a theater piece. And this is we do all kinds of things, and this is a good example, I think, of what we like to do. So we like to combine social life and art. And this artist here, Irene Rasmussen, she came here in 2021. She planted together with the local community sunflower seeds. They grew, and I have to move our window here back and forth. And they grew, and they collected them, and then later they picked them up and they dried them. And after they dried them, they burned them. And then they had this little piece here, metal left, and that was the sculpture that was made out of it. And so the whole project, 2-year project, was about power plants that suck the heavy metals out of the soil. But it was presented in an artistic way with a great exhibition and videos and music and so on. It was a really beautiful social, cultural project. Terminal B, this is our Kunsthal. It hosts 4 to 5 exhibitions a year, mostly artists who work with the northern topics or are from the north. It is a long planning process, so if anyone who likes to try and exhibit here, they need to apply ahead of time. But it's also quite multidisciplinary. And also it's a place where we do performances and talks. And of course, music and theater. So it's a nice little place in the center of Kirkenes where we do things. And actually, we have a little podcast that takes time to keep going, of course, but you can find it on Spotify, Finnmarksfortällare. We have different stories from local people. Yeah, and then Barents Spektakel, the festival. So this is one of the biggest in the north. Very important. We call it a mix of politics and culture. It happens in February, and it's a polar. It's not polar night technically, but it's quite a dark winter festival. A lot of things are happening outside in -30 with wind, and it takes 4 days. It has more than 200 artistic participants and hosts about 8,000 people total, repeated audience as well, of course. Yeah, and it speaks out on different topics. It's a theme-driven festival. So every year we try to find a theme that is relevant and find artists that can speak on this. Yeah, like this year is an assembly about oil. I think it was 2017, and it was outside in these ice settings, and it created a lot of powerful discussions in the media because we even had Statoil, I think, as a sponsor at the time, but we criticized oil rigging, so it was fun. Yeah, so it's a multidisciplinary festival. A lot of things happen. I think this year we had 52 events happening in 4 days.
Wow.
Yeah, one important thing is that we try to make, I think it's quite fun. We make a festival bar, and I'll just skip to the bar part. Yeah, for example, and we try to find always a new place for it, and the bar becomes like the main place where people meet, of course, but also for smaller artistic events and so on. And this is what people remember most out of the festival usually. And this year is a Shell station that was not working for many years, and we did a bar there called Heia Bar, and then next year. And next year it was a bar in an abandoned Pumpehuset. And I think that was the best bar we've had so far because it was we usually invite a collective of artists from all different countries. So here we had three, an exile from Russia, and then a Norwegian and a Finnish artist, and they made a bar about this commission that's Tappekommission, it's called. It still exists on the river that divides Russia, Norway, and Finland, because despite of the sanctions, they have to keep control of the water that is being allowed to go through to those 6 or 7 hydro stations. So in the heavy times, there is still some organs that keep on working and communicating with each other. And we believe that art is a great communication instrument. And we here with this bar, we say that we need to communicate despite of the troubles, despite of the many horrible things happening. Communication and artistic communication especially is a way to contribute to peace and to better future. And then export programs. So sometimes artists, as I said, come for production residencies, and we do produce together with them quite a lot of artistic projects that we try to take out every once in a while to different festivals. This is just keeping it short. So I will stop sharing here.
It seems like you have a lot to share.
Yeah. And the best part about this, of course, is not the information that I gave you, because this is quite, shallow and quick and so on, but it's the stories that, happen. For example, the part of identity, being a border town, is important for us. And every day since 2022, we are faced with this new reality after Russian invasion into Ukraine, how to change our identity. It's not only for Peking and for Brunn, it's for the whole town of Kirkenes, and I think for most northern Norway, because it was so tight with Russia in many ways. So now I think art is one of the instruments to also find this new identity, how to exist, but also to keep contact. And this is actually what we're going to speak on the Arctic Art Summit in Umeå. One of the discussions that we're going to lead is that there must be ways to find there must be ways to build, to construct communication, because right now all communication with the Russian independent art, art that contributes to democracy and still fights the dictatorship.
You have to realize that it's like it's not the people that does the war.
Exactly.
Yeah.
But at the same time, most of the picture that is being drawn in mass media and in politics is sanctions, no communication, everything is done, kind of.
Yeah.
And so we have to find ways to communicate, and I think it's an important discussion that will happen for many years to go. Yeah.
It's very tricky questions, and I really appreciate that you bring this up, Evgeny, actually, because for me it's also very painful given my origin. I also born in Russia, in Petrozavodsk. Never been to Murmansk, which is very pity thing to say, actually.
Yeah,
it's a really huge metropole, and I had many friends from Murmansk who I still know. Beautiful people. I kind of haven't realized how much closer Kirkenes is to Murmansk than to, I don't know, Trondheim. But I'm very, very much heard. I don't know if you had similar tight relationships there in the North Carolina, but like it is really remarkable efforts that were made in the 90s in the far north Norway and Russia to build stuff there. Maybe I could even say that in fact me, myself, and my cultural kind of heritage is a product of that effort.
Yeah, the same here.
When I was young and I went to school, there were a lot of cultural exchange programs between Norway and Russia. And I've been to Sweden, to Lycksele, first time when I was 8 years old. And that was thanks to the Blue Road collaboration. And Swedish kids were coming to Petrozavodsk, and we were going to Lycksele, and we were playing music. And now when I'm in Stockholm, I go to Käppis to jam some folk music. I can join, which is fascinating. If you think about me being a Russian boy, I can go to Stockholm and I feel home because I can jam the same tunes they played, which I played also when I was little.
That is amazing.
Swedish.
I mean, I'm Czech and I'm Finnish, so I'm also like not from a foreign, like I'm not Swedish at all. But I don't have no places for Czech Finns to play their
place. But that's a philosophical thing. I think the future is after us. The future is for the people who can understand and will understand and want to understand and share blended cultural heritage. I guess that's my view of that.
I think so too. It's really important to embrace that. It must be so hard, like living in a town like Kirkenes, who has like that's the identity, and now one part of the identity is cut off. What to do then? The whole balance is like moved.
I'm actually very curious about how you're coupling with that, Evgeny, because I only been to I've been to actually Hammerfest a couple of months after the war started, and I got in a total. I was in a very bad shape at the time. I was like almost hysterical, but they invited me there as an instructor, so I went there as a musician, as a violinist, and I remember. Obviously, we talked a lot about it, and I was very surprised that the people are actually. Because the rhetorics were very strong at the time, obviously. But I was very amused, but that the people there, they were perfectly in a sync that the regime is not the same as the people. And they were like already then talking a lot that one day that will be over and we'll have to rebuild the bridges. So they were already thinking about that back then. I don't know how are the modes now. And that was very, very kind of sweet and Because
sorry, you weren't finished, maybe.
No, I kind of am.
So, I have to say, it's not a stable situation, right? So everything is developing rapidly everywhere in the world, but in this particular sphere as well. And I think those who are saying that everything is understandable are making a big mistake. Because nothing is understandable. The only thing that is understandable, like an old philosopher said, is that you cannot step into the same river twice. So everything is changing all the time. And if we stop communication, with those who are on the other side, we are losing contact. We are losing reality in a way. We stop understanding the reality, and then we start to construct a new reality, which is artificial. I like to say that there are 8 billion opinions and 8 billion ways to express them. And it feels like art is maybe it's a nice instrument to explain something that cannot be explained in words. I will give you one example from February 2022. We had a festival on February 23rd. And the main idea was, the theme was, where do we go from here? Because if you remember, there was coronavirus. And we were thinking, what do we do? The coronavirus is almost over. Now the borders will open. Now we can travel and meet and so on. And then on the second day of the festival, the war started and we didn't know what to do. And we did some decisions to continue and so on. But then the important thing happened on Sunday, which was the fourth or the fifth day of the festival, the fourth day of the war. We had a project planned in Corona times on the river dividing Russia and Norway. And we were supposed to place speakers on both sides. A Russian team would do it on their side and Norwegian team on this side. And then the artists, it was a Norwegian artist, Tina, from the Norwegian side, she would send a signal to the Russian side across the river. And it was a signal of a ship in the fog, a horn used on a ship in the fog. It's like a really deep and of course, she used like all the digital ways to transform it and so on. But still, it was like a powerful signal. And then the artist on the Russian side was, by coincidence, a Ukrainian-Russian artist, Pavlo Berdansky. And he was supposed to send a signal of an air siren used in the Second World War. And that was supposed to be this musical soundscape exchange across the river in the times when the borders are closed, saying that we need communication and so on. But then an hour before the project, we had a call from our friends saying that they were stopped on the Russian side by the municipalities and by the rescue department, MCS, saying that they cannot participate in this project, that there's a storm coming. And of course, we were on the other side of the river and there was no storm. And it was a clearly political decision to stop any projects going on the Russian side. And then we lost connection, and we didn't know if they made it to the side because it was more than 1 kilometer distance. You would not see it with the naked eye. And so we were thinking, do we continue the project or not? Like, does it make sense? But we decided to do it. There were about 300 people on the Norwegian side, and then we sent the signal to the Russian side, and we just listened, waiting for the reply, and there is no reply. And when we do yeah, and then we send the second signal and there is no reply. And the third, and I'm standing there with a phone and I had this lump in my throat and almost a tear falling from my eye, thinking this is it, like we're done. And then there was no reply, so we pack everything up, we leave. And then in the evening, we have a phone call from our Russian partners saying that the team, including the musician, they made it to the side, but they couldn't take the equipment. The equipment was detained. So they heard an original signal, but they couldn't reply back. So they yelled back, and we have this video of them yelling back as hard as they can on the top of their lungs. But we didn't hear them, right? And this project that went wrong, it didn't happen the way it was supposed to. But there was an intention to talk about communication. This project became a very perfect example to show to politicians and to journalists and to other people who are saying, stop communication. And we say, before we say anything, can you please have a look at this project? And after this, they're like, oh, yeah. So there are people on the other side that we have to really make an effort to listen to. And so this is a long story short. Yeah.
It's a fantastic example. But I mean, it's a very tricky situation. I'm being a Norwegian citizen. I'm actually a little bit proud of how Norwegian government handles that because you're probably aware of. I think you also work with Barents Secretariat, and that they made this very clear statement there that they continue working with artists in exile. Yet they are not working with any state-backed organizations. I believe that's very humanitarian step, very clear signal that they do, and I'm very grateful for that. I think it's very, very important for people who are stuck there also and who are not anyhow in capacity of influencing the situation. That being said, I'm sorry, Carolina, that we had this little excursus a little bit east.
No, but it was so heartbreaking and heartwarming at the same time.
It's a big part of landscape, also culturally, especially for the North Norway, because there was a lot of investment done in this area of collaboration. But also bringing it back to where we are now, very much of that efforts are now relocated towards Finland and Sweden. And we are very much open for continuing co-working here. I think sort of the focus is now that we are focusing, we're not saying never to the east, but we are just a little bit more focusing on our local regional exchange, regional work, and the horizontal connections are as important as never before, I guess. I think if we are finding creative way to work in between Sweden and Norway, we will get support from our governments and all the actors who are working with those.
And I'm thinking, from talking about the situation in Kirkenes and in Norway now, like the communication with Russia, we're the lucky ones who actually works with culture, because I think culture and food is the things that are actually gonna see the similarities instead of the differences between people. And it might be a really powerful tool when the future comes and the war is over and we have to reconnect again. I think it's gonna be really important to use this.
It will be very tricky, everything, obviously, but it's important that.
But it can be done.
That there is a space.
I have to believe that.
Maybe good. It's very exciting with all the work you do there in Kirkenes, in such a small place like you described, and so many fantastic installations, works, projects. How do
I have a question in that?
Yes.
How do you finance everything? Because everything costs money.
Good question. Since the organization is 30 years old, right, and it started on a very high peak of Barents Corporation, and it's the border towns. It's a very important geopolitical and cultural intersection of many interests of different countries. I think Peking has done an amazing job to establish themselves more or less sustainable way. So what they managed to do is that Beacon has up to 30 to 40% of a more or less stable financing. They are included into, I think it's cultural department and Nordnorsk Avtale, this Northern Norwegian agreement. That covers about 30 to 40% of the costs, which allows to hire people and to pay for the rent of the house. But all the project funding comes from project money that we have to apply all the time. So the total budget, and here I was not ready for that, so I may be a little wrong with the numbers, but I think one of the last years it was about 15 million Norwegian kroner. If you take 30-40%, so about 6 million we had more or less sustainable, but the rest was project money that we had to attract. So what all of us 8 people, we are constantly writing applications and reporting. So this is a horrible 80% of the job.
It's such a lovely part of the job, I can imagine.
You like it?
No.
No, the same.
But it's necessary, and it's the same when I work with Kulturakademin. It's also funded through project money, and you need those people that actually can put the effort in to do that, because it's going to enable so much value for people who lives in that area.
Yeah, absolutely. And every day, every year it's a big process to go to Oslo and to work on a political level and to protect the funding that already is there. Also, collaborations mean a lot. So a lot of artists who are coming are applying themselves, especially European programs. Those who come from Europe, they apply to their own projects like, oh gosh, all of the names suddenly go out. Creative Europe, and other things. Yeah, and also I have to say that we have a very strong team here. Every person that works in the team has a lot of experience, a lot of connections, and yeah, that's important.
Yeah. Can you tell a little bit about this residency program you have? You mentioned 50, 60 artists yearly.
Yeah.
Where do they live? What do they do? How is that financed? Why do they come also?
Again, they come for all different reasons, mostly because they want to do something connected to the place. I would say that's the main reason for most of them. So they have an interest.
By that, this Russian culture that you have from Russia and
not only Russia, not only Russia. So recent examples, we had. As I said, this UK artist who was interested in boreal forest, a forest that is still here, and he works with trees and he works with nature a lot.
Yeah.
So nature. Yeah, he comes here and he walks through this area just to get to know it. He takes prints of the stones and so on, and then this dance collective that is now working here, Karhutansi dance. It's a Kven collective, and Kven is one of the native people that live here, and this is a dance company that is trying to establish themselves now in Kirkenes, and until the moment they get their place, we are offering them this 1 month residency to create a dance production, and so on and so forth. So it's all different interests, political or geographical or
nature.
Whatever. But nature as well.
50 to 60 sounds so many. Where do they all live? Is it like local? Do you have a house for them?
So this place here, it's 2 floors, and part of the second floor is 2 apartments that can host 4 people, 2 and 2. Also, if we need more at a certain point, we rent out like Airbnbs, and this is actually Franziska, our administrative leader, one of the most important and amazing people. Yeah. She's the one who is making money flow here.
Important person.
Yeah. So we have 2 apartments we rent out if needed to host more people. And again, some of them come in groups. Like the group collective right now, it's 6 people at the same time for a month. So 60, when you think about it, 60, 70 doesn't sound that much. Of course, if you think of a traditional residency, when you have one artist coming for 3 months, for example, doing something, intensively, then of course it would be a lot harder. But not all of them come for such a longer period, and many of them come as groups, and they can live together.
And how long residencies are we talking about? Like a week or a couple of weeks, or?
I would say generally it would be about. It depends. Like if it's just a network residency, when they come to think, to brainstorm, to meet people, that would be a week. But if it's a production residency, I would say a month or so would be an average.
Interesting. And do you work together with the Nordic Culture Point for those residencies? I've seen they have a program for residencies, something like B32 or B52 or something like that it's called.
Well, we had support from the Nordic Culture Point for sure. I'm not sure which program exactly.
Interesting. Cool. It seemed like you have, guys, a lot of experience in all sorts of visual installations, but you also work with music, you say?
Yeah, absolutely. So music is super important. Unfortunately, we don't have so many musicians in residency. So that happened. Maybe now we have one of the dance collectives is a musician that provides the sound for them and live. She's playing actually quite a weird instrument I've never seen before. I don't even know the name of it. I saw her today only. She came just a couple of days ago. And then last year we had a Russian duo in exile on a music residency. But most of the artists are either visual or performative.
Yeah. Fascinating, because when I was thinking who to invite for this next seminar, and it's my always kind of way of thinking, because I'm a musician myself, so most of my kind of natural contacts are musicians, and we in NordSync we think interdisciplinary, and as I said, that's our main kind of source of inspiration for work and culture work. We do productions in Helgeland, in Nordland, not quite geographically where you are, but still we are neighbors. And we are therefore very eager to find more partners with who are as fluent in visuals as we are in music. That feels for us, that would really make our productions more colorful. So if you're eager, if you're into getting more musicians into your work, let's find something we can do together, because I think it's very natural. It seemed like it's very similar. Yeah. We and also, since it's a little bit complicated with working with a northern partner, maybe Carolina here on the Swedish side is also eager for co-working in all possible fields.
Of course.
We have also lots of partners in other small kommunas in Västerbotten and Norrbotten, actually. Is Umeå Norrbotten or Västerbotten?
Västerbotten.
Västerbotten, yeah. But then Piteå is
we call it Västerbotten.
Västerbotten.
Nice.
So we are actually, that's probably something we're going to be speaking on our last in the season online seminar, because it's going to be like rounding up a little bit what we've been doing throughout this year. And we are thinking of starting a new big project next year called NordSync Blå väggen kultursamarbete. So the goal will be to make a series of arrangements which would bidra, what is it?
Contribute
to building up this cultural cooperation alongside the Blå väggen. It's a little bit not quite where you are, but it goes all the way to Narvik, you know. So kind of. And we would really be very happy if you guys could be a part of that collaboration. We are involving many people in Umeå and in all the small places, huge cultural places on the way, such as Storuman, Lycksele, Mo i Rana. We will be finalizing kind of a draft for that project, and it would be really great if you guys were interested in being a part of that. That would be really great.
Of course.
I'm thinking about
and it's also, I mean, when I have been playing out like a lot of live gigs throughout my life, I the most like valuable thing about doing that is like the travels might be long and you sit like cramped in a car where there's instruments. All it's not so glamorous, you know. But the thing that you get is to experience like new places and meet people that you're not that you wouldn't meet otherwise. And that's sort of the huge bonus and silver lining in all this hard work. So of course it would be amazing to find things together, and we can help each other out and find new ways to look at things, and also experience our favorite places.
Yes, exactly. That's the whole point.
Yeah.
So that would be really fascinating. When is that Arctic Art Summit in Umeå? Which dates was that?
I think it's 16th to 17th of June.
Oh, that's a pity. That's
before midsummer.
Yeah.
That's exactly the dates when I'm away.
Yeah.
But I am not away. I am home.
Great. You should guys definitely meet there. Very interesting, very fascinating. Yes, I had a couple of questions, just a little bit about your work, about if you have any work with youth, because that's something we in NordSync naturally are also very much engaged with, just simply because in our little dense populations areas we have to be thinking both pragmatic when it comes to the audiences for our performances and our concerts, but also we are very engaged in thinking forward about who's going to be after us. So we do quite a lot of projects for youth and with youth. Do you have anything similar? And that's a question both for you, Carolina, and Evgeny.
Yeah.
Yeah, we put a lot of effort to we have this ambassador program in ICH and also at Kulturakademin. So it's a lot of most of our efforts in Kulturakademin is towards the young kids. That's gonna like take the stafette pinne over and make it a living cultural heritage. Otherwise, it's stopping here. So of course we try to train them and like give them tools to make it both in our region, but also to be able to make it bigger and expand in their thoughts and then in their dreams. So of course.
Yeah. I have to say that we mostly have experience working with young kids, like barneskola and maybe the first stage, ungdomsskola and barneskola. These are two audience groups that we work with, and we do it through DECOS Lab for Visual Arts, and also we do invite artists every once in a while who provide this kind of work. And we have a big part of the Barn Spectacle Festival dedicated to the younger kids, especially in the Barnaskola. But we are also talking that we don't do enough. If we feel like we need to, like you said, Stepan, think strategically about who's going to be after us. Like and in that exactly. And I feel like in small towns like Kirkenes, there's not enough of offer for the people that go to Videregående, for example, and of course most of them leave the places to study somewhere else, right? So this group is very tangible. Yeah, and it's important to think how to work with this temporary period that you see them, and then some of them are back when they have kids already, like after 35 or so. So yeah, it's a big issue that we are still struggling with, and we need to develop it further. So if you have any ideas how to do it, we would love to hear that.
Yeah, I mean, I'm bringing this up because I someday came across your DKS lab, and I thought it's a great concept. And DKS, it's like it's Den Kulturelle Skolesekken. It's a Norwegian program when the state provides support for different artists to bring their productions to schools, and we're talking every school in every commune, and that's and in order to be a part of that program, you need to apply and get the funding. So it's kind of a competition-based schema. And as far as I understand, you guys in Kirkenes, you kind of organize a masterclass or a workshop that helps people to create those programs.
Yeah, we invite every year. We invite artists to come here to test their product. I don't like the word, on kids. And yes, and then we have a moderator who's seeing that, and then they choose and they give recommendations and so on. But also they give the opportunity to go and use the DKS Lab money to earn your living by showing it to different schools. Yeah.
It sounds like a great addition to the existing program, because it's also quite centralized in Norway, and that's a new thing. It wasn't like that before. So now I think at least that you upload your program to the main system. So basically each commune could choose, and many in Helgeland, that's a little bit scandalous, I think. They choose the productions from Oslo, so they fract musicians from Oslo to come and play for their kids locally, which, I mean, we're talking about free markets, so if the quality is better, I kind of understand it. But at the same time, it's so much more opportunities and resources to use in development for those programs when you live in Oslo or in Stockholm, I guess. That it's a very good idea to actually support a little bit people in Kirkenes, or maybe the artists who are coming from far abroad, because it's also very important. It's a very interesting idea and concept, and I thought I could borrow some of your experience there, actually. But of course, we through our 3-year experience with NordSync, we have sort of developed our sort of model how we work with youth, and we've tried it many times now. We have our own lab. We call it NordSync Lab, which is a workshop for professionals. So we organize that 1 week workshop where we invite different musicians And we do that actually not only in Nordland, we do it also in Østfold, so next to Oslo. We avoid big cities, but it's a very big fylke next to Oslo. And it's the same model we use there. So we invite local musicians, and we invite 1 or 2 guest musicians from abroad. That's a must. Like we want cultural exchange, and we lock them in for a couple of days to make a production, which has to fulfill a couple of requirements. It has to be interdisciplinary. It has to involve local actors, both performers, and also like it has to be a partner in form of förening, society, orchestra society. Usually we work a lot with them, but also choir societies, because this kind of collaboration provides us with guaranteed anchoring. We get tacked into local society, and that's very important. So we co-work a lot with local societies such as orchestra, föreningar, and stuff like that. And it also, in case of orchestra societies, that also provides us the samspel, the connection with between generations, because very often the föreningar are focused on youth, so we get that. So the module then looks like it's a 2-3 day intense workshops for professionals, and then 2-day workshop with the kids, when this product professionals create is getting some kind of support integration with the local amateur/youth community, and they all play a final performance. And that has very many perks. First of all is that you get a much wider anchoring, you get much more layers of society involved, and you also guarantee yourself an audience. And you kind of, by inviting parents of the kids who play, for example, you get them dragged into cultural life, because they normally what they are experiencing is their kids' student concerts, while this what we provide is much more closer to the classical music. Yeah, it's a totally different level, and we get a lot of feedbacks that after that kids are finally being brought to big concert houses, operas and stuff by their parents, because parents has seen, oh, this is so interesting, and then in a month they are suddenly in the Oslo field, just because they realize that, oh, this is a whole new kind of cultural life.
I mean, you show them the bigger picture.
We show them the bigger picture.
Yeah.
And also that module has one very important perk when it comes to us trying to find financing for that, because by inviting professionals, once we pay once for their trip, and then it's very, very smart, and it looks good in applications that they are here at the place, and people who are sponsoring the seminar for kids, they don't have to pay for their trip. So it's very sustainable model when we save money on, because very often, and for a while as a producer, I did this form when I organize a tournée for professionals, and then I have to also invite them again so that they have a masterclass for kids. And that's financially very, very expensive. And now we do it all in one, and it's working much better. That's kind of a sustainability model. So yeah, something like that we could definitely help you with if you into that. But as I said, we are very, as I mentioned in the beginning, interdisciplinary aspect is very important. We want working more with dancers, with visual artists, with performers of any other sort. And this Nordic Suite project, which we are having in October, and we will be premiering on the, I think, North Norway's biggest, maybe even Norden's biggest world music festival. I think I can call it this way, Smeltedigelen, that's taking place in Mo i Rana. It's very big. It's 7 days of different performers playing everything from jazz to world music. And we're gonna premiere there with our huge piece written for nyckelharpa, Hardenfelle, and kind of string orchestra. But now it seems like it's going to be a symphony orchestra, actually, because there are also very many wind players who want to join. So that's one example. And then in Østfold we are doing a similar thing, but we also invite local dancers, modern dance. There's going to be a little bit mix on that. That's our vision of how that can work in our, again, it's very important, and everything I describe is basically working for our like little dense rural areas where it's important that, you know, because maybe in Oslo it's not that actual that you have everything in one, but here it's kind of.
But I think it's amazing because then you're going to provide like more opportunities for both the dancers and the artists and everyone to have like a venue when it all comes together. And when you do that, you're sort of networking between all these people also. So I mean, I think it can be something really great in the end.
Yes. I think we learn a lot every time we are inviting somebody outside of our little musical box. Suddenly we are thinking totally different on many aspects, and the problem very often, and especially in the area where I come from, classical music, musicians are, it's very conservative kind of field of arts. Musicians very often are not ready for thinking yes or saying yes, even though it's not something they are very comfortable with, and that's a very important part. Kind of most of who are staying with NordSync are people who first say yes, and then they find out the way how. That's something very valuable. And as I said, we see.
But it is scary also to be like, when I started this project, I didn't know what it was really, but I was like, yeah, sounds amazing.
It is very scary.
You learn along the way, yeah.
But also that's the way, I believe, and it will be more and more so in the coming years of flourishing AI technology and stuff like that. Everything human will be more and more at demand, I think. What do you think?
Yeah, the more like I mean the live concerts would be hard to reproduce by AI. I mean, that's the thing we actually still have, that we human beings performing something, trying to reach out to the audience and connect. That connection can never be done in another way. No. I mean, you can go and check avatars and see that a couple of times, but after a while it's going to be What?
I agree. I think my feeling, at least at the moment, is that the need for live performances and live musicians, live actors or whatever, will only grow, because we will be overfed by this huge amount of high quality AI stuff, you know, and then we will need to go back to the ground to feel the energy, like with theater. I love theater. This is, I think, the most beautiful form of art. And when cinema appeared, everybody said that theater is dead, but it's not. It's alive and thriving, because there's live connections, because there are many ways more to communicate when you are in the audience.
Yeah, and that moment when you two, like the audience and I mean, I can stand here on my yard playing music, and that can be nice, but it's in that moment, but somebody is receiving what I have to give, and you can't have that anywhere. That's where people get addicted to playing music, like on stage. I think that is the key.
That is the key. And I think actually AI is sort of a must rubric in NordSync. We somehow end up talking about, but I guess it's natural for many areas, not only arts. But it's very funny. Sometimes I talk to artists and they are kind of really threatened, and they see it as a negative that there is flourishing AI and that it's like delivering a much higher level of, I don't know, quality of sound. And I don't know if you've seen all those lately generated songs. They are no longer sounding like AI. They sound like a very properly studio made recordings. And many see it as like a real threat. Well, now we are not in demand, but I think it will be the opposite effect. It will be liberating for us, because being a classical violinist, probably in a couple of years I cannot compete with what AI can suggest. AI can play Mozart perfect, which no human can play. But then what's the point?
I mean the art is somehow it's in the mistakes, or in the
So I think actually it's giving us much more freedom than we used to have before. It's okay to be human, do mistakes, because in return you deliver something more that the technology can't.
I mean, AI can't recreate Nirvana, like the group Nirvana. They can't do that because it's imperfect, and that's what's so good with them. It like sometimes it itches a little bit there and sways a little bit there, and that's their thing. So that can't be recreated anywhere.
And I think in this kind of paradigm we're talking about now, the interdisciplinary is even more actual, actually, because music, only taking into consideration what you hear, it kind of, from us performing artists, demands also a little bit of visual, a little bit of theater on stage. And our NordSync Lab number 2 this year actually involved a theater regisseur we invited from Tromsø, who came and was with us for 2 days, working with both professionals and kids orchestra. So we were focusing on the theater for the musicians. We had a theater performance for musicians by musicians, which was, as you can imagine, very stressful for most, because they were mostly classical musicians who are not used to exposing themselves this much. But the result was fantastic, and everybody was very happy about, because it's also very different techniques. Like the regisseur, she started the rehearsal with us just walking in the room, experiencing the physical kind of contact, which we never do. We just sit on the chairs and play our instruments, and then suddenly you'll have names, you'll have eyes, you'll have your own tempo, how you move. And that all makes a totally different dimension to the whole event. So we were very excited. I have to admit, I was very shocked of how well that worked out. Because originally the whole thing started on paper. I wasn't really, giving it so much high expectation, and it was fantastic. So now I'm very eager to more of that sort of projects, because I think it's the future. Yeah. I think we are approaching to our point when I have to let you guys go. I'm really grateful that you joined for the talk today.
Thank you.
Thank you so much. I think
thank you so much for having us.
Really great talking to you. It's really fantastic, and it's an honor to be able to do that as a job, to just talk to fantastic musicians. I hope we keep in touch. I hope you guys keep in touch. I have all the contacts, so just write to me and I will post it.
Absolutely. We keep in touch for sure. And Carolina, I will write more to you about Umeå trip. And Stefan, thanks so much. I've learned quite a few about NordSync and eager to continue to talk.
Thank you so much. Have a great day, and I see you.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.